Don't!
Hey everyone! Have you ever stopped to think that The Simpsons might be the most philosophically profound show that's ever been on television? I know, it seems crazy to say that about a yellow family that's always making jokes, but the truth is that behind each episode, there's a reflection on the human condition that would leave Socrates speechless. Today we're going to dive into a journey that will completely change the way you see Springfield. Because the philosophy of The Simpsons isn't just in the jokes. It's in the essence of what it means to be human in the modern world.
I finally got a job I was good at, now I have to give it up!
Since it premiered in 1989, The Simpsons has done something that few shows can pull off, using humor as a lens to examine the great existential questions of humanity. Matt Groening and his team didn't just create an animated sitcom.
Power, water, was on fire!
Hey, want to truly understand The Simpsons? Read The Yellow Prophecies, The Yellow Philosophy, and The Yellow Secrets. And there's also Bobby Good for you to draw. Hurry, link in the description. They built a philosophical laboratory disguised as family entertainment. And the most impressive thing is how they managed to do this without sounding pedantic or overly intellectualized. The genius lies precisely in hiding depth within simplicity. Let's start with Homer Simpson, who is probably the most philosophically complex character on television. At first glance, he seems like just a lazy, dumb guy who loves beer and donuts. But when you look closer, Homer represents something much deeper. He's the personification of the average man trying to find happiness in a society that constantly tells him he should want more. Homer is happy with little, and that, my friends, is pure Epicurean philosophy. Epicurus believed that happiness came from life's simple pleasures.
That boy has no respect for my authority.
And Homer practices this every day when he chooses a Duff beer and time with family instead of grand ambitions. There's a scene in an episode where Homer is in the yard looking at the stars, and he says, "Sometimes I feel like we're just pawns in a cosmic game." This phrase, said in an apparently casual way, touches on the core of existentialism. Homer intuitively understands something that philosophers took centuries to articulate. Our cosmic insignificance doesn't need to be a source of despair. It can be a source of freedom. If we're small in an immense universe, then our small happinesses matter as much as any great achievement.
Yes, son, we can.
Marge, on the other hand, represents the family's moral balance and, by extension, society's. She's the voice of practical reason, the one trying to keep everyone in line. Philosophically, Marge embodies the ethics of care, a moral theory that emphasizes the importance of relationships and mutual responsibility. When Marge says, in that characteristic tone, she's not just expressing disapproval, she's making a moral judgment based on how one person's actions affect collective well-being. She's Springfield's moral conscience, always questioning whether something is right or wrong, not by abstract rules, but by how it impacts real people.
Oh, when will this tea get out of my system?
Bart Simpson is where philosophy gets really interesting because he represents the natural human rebellion against authority structures. When Bart writes on the chalkboard, "I will not question authority," ironically, he's doing exactly that, questioning why he shouldn't question. Bart is a little philosophical anarchist, always testing the limits of what's socially acceptable. He forces us to ask, who decides the rules and why? Why should we obey them? Bart doesn't obey because he sees no reason to, and that's a totally valid philosophical position.
Yeah, and I've learned that all religions are equally boring.
Lisa Simpson is obviously the family's explicit philosopher. She questions everything, constantly seeks knowledge, and is always fighting for justice. Lisa represents the Socratic ideal of constant questioning. When she becomes Buddhist, when she questions capitalism, when she fights for animal rights, Lisa is doing what every good philosopher should do: critically examine the world around her and not accept anything as absolute truth just because it's always been that way. Lisa shows us that philosophy isn't just for adults in universities, it's a way of living.
I guess you and I are in charge now, Bart. But if we split the chores, I'm sure that we could— What are you doing?
Sayonara, sucker!
Oh, no, you're not leaving me to clean this up.
And Maggie? Ah, Maggie might be the most philosophical of all. She observes the world in silence, absorbing everything without preconceived judgments. Maggie represents pure consciousness, uncontaminated by social expectations. When she occasionally speaks, her words carry prophetic weight. Maggie reminds us that sometimes silent observation can be more revealing than all the speeches in the world. Answer me something quick. Have you ever caught yourself questioning whether your life makes sense while watching The Simpsons? If that hit you hard right now, it's no coincidence. The series has this power to make us reflect on our own existence. So do this. Comment, The Simpsons made me think. This isn't just a comment. It's recognizing that entertainment can be transformative. Your reflection matters.
To the track!
I want that!
Well, you can't have it.
But The Simpsons' philosophy goes far beyond the main characters. Springfield as a city is a microcosm of American society and, by extension, modern Western society. Each secondary character represents a different aspect of the human condition. Mr. Burns is the personification of inhuman capitalism, someone who has completely lost connection with his own humanity in pursuit of power and wealth. He's not just a villain, he's a philosophical critique of what happens when we prioritize having over being.
Get them, be costumed weirdos. Sex few blockers, keep blocking.
Ned Flanders represents genuine religiosity, but also its limitations. Ned is sincerely devout, but his faith sometimes prevents him from seeing moral nuances. He makes us question, is it possible to be too good? Is there a point where virtue becomes a vice? Flanders shows us that even the best intentions can become problematic when applied too rigidly.
What are you doing here, freezer stealer?
Ned's letting us use his freezer to store the extra sandwiches.
Still haven't checked out the shop? You're missing out. There are exclusive products waiting for you. Take a look, link in the description. Mo Shaislak is the personification of practical nihilism. He sees the world as a meaningless place and reacts with cynicism and bitterness. But curiously, Mo keeps living, keeps functioning, keeps his bar open. He represents those who've lost faith in life's meaning, but still continue participating in the community. Mo makes us ask, is it possible to live without believing that life has meaning? And his answer seems to be a reluctant yes.
Hey, this Blade Rummy is all right. He's a big spender, plus he fixed the jukebox. I think they had a thing going.
Apu worked tirelessly, knew more about American culture than many Americans, and yet maintained his cultural identity. Philosophically, Apu represented the possibility of cultural synthesis, the idea that we can honor our heritage while embracing a new identity.
Get ready to rock with a group that is truly all about the music, Covercraft!
Professor Frink personifies the scientific pursuit of knowledge, but also its limitations. His inventions always go wrong in spectacular ways, suggesting that technical knowledge without practical wisdom can be dangerous. Frink reminds us that intelligence and wisdom are different things, and that not every discovery represents real progress. The political philosophy of The Simpsons is particularly sophisticated. The series consistently mocks both the left and the right, suggesting that political truth rarely lies in the extremes. When Marge runs for mayor, we discover that governing is much more complicated than criticizing. When Lisa leads protests, we learn that even the noblest causes can have unintended consequences. The Simpsons embraces a pragmatic political philosophy, distrusts rigid ideologies, and favors practical solutions that actually help real people.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. No!
The treatment of religion in the series is especially nuanced. The Simpsons isn't anti-religious, but it questions organized religion when it becomes dogmatic or hypocritical. Reverend Lovejoy frequently loses patience with his congregation, suggesting that even spiritual leaders are fallible humans. But the series also shows moments of genuine faith and redemption. The message seems to be that spirituality is valuable, but must be tempered with humility and compassion. One of The Simpsons' most important philosophical contributions is its approach to time and continuity. The family never ages. They live in an eternal present where consequences rarely extend beyond one episode. This isn't just a narrative convention. It's a philosophical statement about how we live our lives. How many times do we do things thinking this time will be different, only to repeat the same patterns? The Simpsons suggests that maybe this is part of the human condition, and that's okay. We don't need to constantly grow or change to have value.
Sometimes the language on these gets a little B-L-U-E.
The series also deeply explores the philosophy of education through Springfield Elementary School. The school is consistently portrayed as a failed institution, with unmotivated teachers and incompetent administrators. But occasionally, moments of true learning happen, usually when someone breaks the rules. The message is clear. Real education doesn't necessarily happen in educational institutions. Lisa learns more by questioning and exploring on her own than sitting in a classroom.
So, any dirt on the new teacher?
Is he stingy with the pumpkin stickers?
Does he have OCD? OCD? OCD?
I don't know.
Work also receives interesting philosophical treatment. Homer works at a nuclear power plant, a potentially dangerous job that he executes with complete incompetence. This could be a criticism of irresponsible capitalism, but it's also a meditation on work alienation. Homer doesn't connect with his work, sees no purpose in it beyond the paycheck. He's living what Marx would call alienation, but Homer finds meaning elsewhere, in family, in friends, in simple pleasures. Perhaps the series is suggesting that we don't need to find meaning in work if we find it in other aspects of life. Male friendship is explored through the relationship between Homer and his colleagues at Moe's bar. They gather regularly, drink beer, complain about life, but fundamentally support each other. It's a form of male intimacy that's rarely portrayed in media, not based on activities or achievements, but simply on being present for one another. Philosophically, this touches on the human need for community and belonging.
I know how to get you out of your contract, but I gotta warn you, you will never work in the fast food industry again.
Go on, please.
The series also makes profound statements about art and creativity. Krusty the Clown is an artist who sold out, someone who traded his artistic integrity for commercial success. But occasionally, Krusty remembers why he started doing comedy, and in those moments, he shines. The message is that real art comes from authenticity, not commercial formula. When the creators make Krusty question his own work, they're questioning their own industry. Consumerism receives consistent and intelligent criticism. Springfield's shopping malls are temples of materialism, places where people go seeking happiness through purchases. But the series repeatedly shows that this pursuit is futile. Real happiness comes from relationships, shared experiences, simple moments. When Homer becomes ecstatic about a new TV, the pleasure is temporary. When he spends quality time with his family, the satisfaction is lasting.
Boy, you little... I'll show you who's a flabby! Yeah, all muscle. In Minnesota, I'd be a supermodel.
The series also addresses environmental issues in a philosophically interesting way. Springfield is a polluted city with a leaking nuclear plant, a toxic lake, and impure air. But people keep living there, adapting to the conditions. This raises profound questions about our relationship with the environment. To what extent are we responsible for environmental degradation? Is it possible to live ethically in an inherently harmful system? Lisa frequently raises these questions, but rarely finds easy answers.
Flaming tap water. I saw something about that in a documentary.
Aging and mortality are treated with surprising depth. Grandpa Simpson represents the wisdom of age, but also its irrelevance in the modern world. His stories are ignored, his advice rejected, but occasionally he offers profound insights. The series suggests that perhaps our society loses something valuable when it marginalizes the elderly. At the same time, it shows that aging doesn't guarantee wisdom. People can get older without getting wiser. Death is approached with a mix of humor and seriousness that is distinctly philosophical. When characters die in The Simpsons, it's rarely treated as cosmic tragedy, but as a natural part of life. The series embraces a stoic acceptance of mortality. Death is inevitable, but that doesn't make life meaningless. If anything, the inevitability of death makes each moment more precious.
Homer, if I ever seem that senile, get a gun and what are you doing with that gun?
Technology receives ambivalent treatment. Sometimes technology improves the characters' lives, sometimes it complicates them. Lisa uses computers to learn and connect with other activists. Homer uses technology mainly for passive entertainment. The series seems to suggest that technology itself is neutral. Its value depends on how we use it. This is a philosophically sophisticated position that avoids both technophobia and techno-utopianism. Class differences are explored through the contrasts between the Simpsons, who are clearly working class, and characters like Mr. Burns or even the Flanders, who are more affluent. But the series avoids cliches about wealth and poverty. The rich aren't automatically evil, nor are the poor automatically virtuous. Homer can be generous even when he doesn't have much to give. Burns can occasionally show genuine compassion. The series suggests that character isn't directly linked to economic situation. The family as an institution receives constant philosophical attention. The Simpsons are a dysfunctional family by any traditional standard. The father is irresponsible, the mother is overwhelmed, the children are problematic. But they genuinely love each other and always support each other when it really matters. The series suggests that perfect families don't exist and that family love doesn't need to be conditional on perfection. This is a philosophically profound message about acceptance and forgiveness. Informal education happens constantly in The Simpsons. Characters learn not through formal lessons, but through experiences, mistakes, and casual conversations. Bart learns about responsibility when his pranks have real consequences. Homer learns about love when he almost loses Marge. Lisa learns about pragmatism when her ideals collide with reality. The series embraces an educational philosophy based on lived experience instead of formal teaching. Humor itself is treated philosophically. The Simpsons uses comedy not just to entertain, but to reveal uncomfortable truths. When we laugh at Homer doing something stupid, we also laugh at our own stupidities. So tell me in the comments, what moment from The Simpsons made you stop and really think about life? This conversation is just beginning, and your perspective is essential for us to continue exploring these questions together. See you next time, everyone. Did you enjoy the video? Are you a fan of The Simpsons and the channel? Then support us on Patreon and unlock exclusive content. Link in the description.